on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Warmer weather, sunny skies, summer is here. At the Walker, this means mini golf is open on the rooftop. Artist-led activations return to the hillside, and the cinema has a series of curated films. It's the perfect time to visit. Gallery admissions are free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org/summer.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clear with a low of 52. Then Friday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high of 74. Summer is here, so have a night to remember with dinner and a show at Crooner's Supper Club. Crooner's is located in Fridley on Highway 65, just north of I-694. Check out their concert schedules and dinner menus at croonersmn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we got a jam-packed show today. We got our friend Arvina Martin coming on later in the day, and then we are waiting on our friend Robert Lilligren. Robert Lilligren will stop in tonight. Later on tonight, I'll be heading out to Owamni, and Owamni's has a soft opening tonight, the Owamni restaurant, and really excited to go there and check out and support this great artist that really is been doing so much great things with the food, and he's won so many awards. So I'm really excited to do that and to come on and do that. So without any further ado, we have our friend Robert Lilligren here, and I just want to bring him on. Great to see you, Robert, again, twice in one day. Awesome. And what a beautiful day on the Avenue today.
Yeah, bonjour, Robert. Great to see you. My lucky day, I guess, twice in one day. And it was really lovely on the Avenue today. Good to see you at the Four Sisters Farmers Market today.
Yeah, definitely. And just a great vibe. People are always smiling. I love going there. I love seeing people that I normally see, and then I love seeing people that I haven't seen in a while. And so just really an excellent excellent day for today, and excellent running into our relatives in a good way here on Franklin Avenue.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Always a good time. For folks who don't know what we're talking about, our organization, Native American Community Development Institute, NACDI, holds a weekly farmers market during the season, Thursdays 11 to 3. And it's kind of a hip and happening place on the American Indian Culture Corridor.
Yeah, it is. And, it's just really interesting, too, because for me, you and I and other guests on Native Roots Radio really talk about what's going on locally and nationally. And it's always really good to, get away from that for a couple hours and just be in community. And it's such a great example of being in community and doing those things and seeing people. I look forward to it every week, and I'm really, really glad that it's going on and it's going strong.
Yeah, it is kind of happening in place. And, the work we do at NACDI, we're kind of systems change people, right? And sort of about community development, native-driven community development, really focusing on the capacity of the community. And we do that by we have sort of 3 key program areas. One is food sovereignty. We have our Four Sisters Farmers Market. We have our Four Sisters Urban Farm as well. We do civic engagement. We have our Make Voting a Tradition, which is one of our signature programs. And of course, arts and culture. And we have our All My Relations Arts Gallery and a lot of arts activities. You might have noticed that we had a artist in residence today at the Four Sisters Farmers Market. That's something that our market manager, our Ho-Chunk sister, Destiny Jones, started last year. And so Sydney will be showing up. I think it's the 3rd Thursday of every month at the market. Today she was doing some really lovely arts activities, painting rocks today. So that was pretty cool as well. So yeah, there's just always something happening there.
Yeah, it definitely is. And there's something that was handed to me too about a Connecting East Franklin flyer that said help shape the future of Franklin Avenue East Culture Corridor, and we know it as the Native Corridor. And there's a community visioning, scenting, and a walking tour. Are you and is Native American Community Development Institute involved with that?
We're not the hosts of the tour or anything like that, but of course we'll be part of it. We're hosting a lot of tours, I will say, on the corridor just in these weeks here. Tours from national groups, from local groups. So I'm sure we'll be involved in some way or another, but we're not the ones that are hosting that tour.
One of the amazing things that's happening on the Avenue too, and we haven't had our friend Dr. Stately on lately because he's been so busy. That building that they're building there is unbelievable and so much, so needed in the community, and just a great added asset to the community. And we had Native American Community Clinic there for years, but now it's expanded to this bigger building with 2 floors with the medical stuff, and then the other 4 floors, I believe, is going to be housing.
It is. It's housing, 2 floors of services. It's the Native American Community Clinic. Dr. Anthony Stately is the CEO there, and they, for quite a while now, have been building a new facility there. And so it was just this little kind of strip mall piece before that, but now it's a 6-story building. It's really impressive, and it's going to be kind of a new level of Native-driven development on the cultural corridor. And so it's very exciting. The building is looking gorgeous. It's very close to being completed. They're just mounting some of the artwork on the exterior of the building. NACDI's Angela Two Stars, who's our All My Relations Arts Gallery Director and the Vice President of Arts and Culture at NACDI, has been consulting on the project both for the art inside and outside. And it's a whole new level of development along the American Indian Culture Corridor. I think really setting the standard.
Yeah, I saw the architect running in and out of your office today, and he needs a lot of flowers because, geez, he's a part of a lot of native landscape here in Minnesota, and it's just amazing that he's part of that. He was part of Walk on Teepee and all these other organizations. Tom is his name, right?
No, it's Sam Olbeckson. Yeah, that's cool. And he is really a renowned architect, native architect. He's a White Earth brother of mine. He happens to be the chair of my board. That's why you saw him in the office today. He's also the chair of the board of the Minneapolis American Indian Center. But he is a lead architect or a partner architect on an incredible number of projects happening in the American Indian Cultural Corridor, including public sector projects, right? There's a light rail station redesign project going on. He's the native community partner there. Our Minnesota Department of Transportation is trying to figure out what to do with this property they own, which was the site of the Long Forgotten Natives, a massive unsheltered homelessness encampment back in 2018. A lot of the native orgs are using them. He was telling us about some of his other super interesting projects. You should have him on the show to talk about his work. But what I really respect about Sam, and I respect a lot about him, is that he is also concerned with sort of building the bench of native architects and designers. He has a summer workshop every year for young people interested in the field. He helped establish the Minnesota American Indian Architects Association a while back, and I think he was the only member when he first founded it. Then there were two, and I think there's still maybe only two in the organization. But he's not just focused on the work; he's focused on community building capacity and things.
Yeah, and you and I talk about that a lot with our positions here, and that's great to hear. Hey, we are here with Robert Lilligren, our White Earth Ojibwe relative, and also President and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. We'll be right back after a short break. Ho-wah.
Phase 2 of the Track and Signals project for the full Metro Blue Line begins June 29th and requires replacement bus service until August 19th. The Metro Green Line will also need replacement bus service at select stations for several dates of the Blue Line maintenance period. Sign up for rider alerts and learn about replacement bus station locations and dates at metrotransit.org/track-signals. Again, that's metrotransit.org/track-signals.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are here with Robert Lilligren, CEO and President of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. Later on, we're going to have Arvina Martin on, and we're talking about a lot of fun things and a lot of things happening all over Turtle Island and in Wisconsin. She's our political consultant. But Robert, I feel like you're a political consultant too, and I know there's things going on the avenue. We have our houseless relatives still, and we talk about this. And a lot of times, not just you and I, but other guests, we talk about how everyone is pointing the finger to everyone else to take care of these things, and you're right in the middle of it, and it must be maddening at times.
It does, and so part of it is the inaction or the lack of effectiveness. It's in 8 years since the Wall of Forgotten Natives, the huge unsheltered encampment of our unsheltered relatives, and where it was really the native orgs sort of under the umbrella of the Metropolitan Urban Indian Directors, which is a regional native leadership or a metro area native leadership forum. And we rapidly deployed our always meager resources to best support our relatives. Well, the government just sort of stood back and was trying to figure out what to do. And it's multi-levels of government, right? There's state government that has property there, county government, regional government, city government. And they were more or less saying during that era, well, that's not our job. That's the city would say, oh, that's the state's job. Or the county would say, that's the city's job. Or the state would say, well, that's what we pay the counties to do. Until it was just maddening. And although it's improved somewhat in the last 8 years, it's still not as effective as it can be. I will say from the community perspective, we're helping to lead the jurisdictions into being more effective at establishing short-term, mid-term, long-term, effective community-driven strategies to support our relatives. And we've learned so much in that time. One of the things that really surprised me, Robert, we learned early on our organization was funded by a foundation to engage with our relatives at the Wall of Forgotten Natives. And we learned that the primary thing that our relatives are looking for is cultural connection. That is the keystone. Even before housing, chemical health, physical health, all of that employment, they want cultural connection. And so, that's led to a broader understanding that culture is cure, culture is prevention, culture is treatment, and so starting to shape a system around that. But the thing that right now is really getting my goat are the fences that have been put up. Every jurisdiction that owns property right in the American Indian Cultural Corridor and through the Native community has fenced their property off, so our relatives can't put tents up or anything. And I get it. It's hard on the community to have these clustered of unsheltered relatives living there. And we need a little reprieve, but fences are not a permanent solution. Fences are emblematic of a total systemic failure. They feel like colonization and genocide continuing into the 21st century. So for some reason, I've become a face and voice of opposing those fences and trying to get them taken down. There'll be a big article in our biggest daily newspaper very soon about the fences. I was interviewed for that, photographed by the fences. But if folks come down to the American Indian Cultural Corridor, everything's fenced off. You can't even walk on sidewalks, especially around the light rail station where pedestrians need to get there. Our kids need to get there to get to school. It's sad.
And dangerous, very dangerous. I see people walking there and people flying around. Since COVID, people don't know how to drive, it seems
Right.
like.
So we have to go into the street to get around these fences. Often you'll see our relatives using wheelchairs or mothers pushing carriages, and they're right out in traffic.
Yeah.
Then layer that on, and people, and we joke here in Minneapolis that there's 2 seasons, right? Summer and road construction. So everything's under construction. So if your pathway isn't blocked by one of these annoying fences around publicly owned land, it's blocked by construction. And so you cannot walk through the community without putting yourself at risk.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the scoop. We're scooping the Minneapolis Star. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, Minneapolis Star Tribune. Yep. So so I don't know when the article's coming out, but the more attention we can bring to this issue, I think the better. And since I'm on my high horse, I'm becoming the crabby old elder, Robert. I don't know if I told you this or not, but another thing is the investment in sort of public safety and community-led safety initiatives. And right now in the city of Minneapolis, they're kind of focusing these special summer initiatives in two areas. Lake Street, where we do have a lot of unsheltered relatives, native and non-native, and then also Uptown, which is kind of a nicer part of the city, and no one's coming to our aid here. And we have all this wonderful organizational infrastructure in the Native community. We're great partners, and yet none of that extra attention or investment is coming into our community, which is kind of ground zero for a lot of these safety concerns. So we're going to be organizing to try to change that and to get the attention, the resources, the political attention that we deserve.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, leading, if not leading the way, being a part of this really important conversation. And we talk, especially years ago when we first started the show. You and I used to talk about a lot of the things that have changed over the years, and having a chair at the table is so different from the generations before. And so I got to give you your flowers and really a good who to you and other people that have opened the door for you, and a lot of people that Native Americans are now showing up and also being part of the conversation.
Engaging, right? And it's not me, of course. I mean, we're 7 generations, right? We're all working for the next generations to come, but I'm really looking to the next generation to be leading this activist work. I appreciate the kind words but it's not me, right? And more younger Native people are willing to go into these hostile systems, especially around government or these hostile non-Native spaces, and work from the inside. And you had the blurb from our Lieutenant Governor, my whiter sister, Peggy Flanagan. She's a prime example of someone who's going in. And I got to tell you, I think one thing that's important is that when folks are willing to go inside the system, we need to make sure that we're putting effort into supporting them, right? And I will know, I'll tell you from experience, you become very vulnerable to accusations of selling out or something because you're willing to go inside the system, and it's not a selling out thing. It's trying to serve the community as best you can and set the next generations up for success. And so I know I've had these conversations with other Native folks who go into government, as elected official for quite a while. I'm still an appointed government official, but yeah, it's surprising how quickly the community can kind of turn on you. So I don't expect people to agree with me all the time. I wouldn't want that, right? But we can disagree and still be respectful and supportive of each other.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with a lot of, I don't know, I feel like some people feel left out, but of the conversation, and I guess I'm talking about Native people specifically, and they don't act accordingly to our ways, whether it's respectful to elders or so. There's generations that have been lost and that are looking a way to come back, and sometimes it's really rough on the community and really rough on them, and I see that a lot lately.
I love that you said that, Robert. Thanks. And it's a very real dynamic here, right? And one of the things that our organization, Native American Community Development Institute, does is often acts as intermediary between community and non-Native institutions, government, organizations. And we hear it all the time. These institutions, non-Native institutions, will say, well, we're trying to engage Native people, but they just won't come. Or we had some Native people at this meeting and they smiled and nodded and never came back. And so what we do at NACDI is to help educate the outside world. This is part of our systems change work, right? how to best engage Native people. It's not our job to put butts in their seats. It's their job to come into the community, to build relationship. That's the advice we give everyone. Just show up. Show up in our spaces, show up in our events. You might not be welcomed in warmly to start, but the more consistently you show up, the more opportunity you'll have to build relationships, to build trust, and to build engagement. And I've seen it work hundreds of times, and I've seen organizations that aren't willing to commit to that kind of relationship building fail hundreds of times.
Wow. Those are that's serious language. I really appreciate that. That's it in a nutshell. Robert, thank you as always for stopping in, and always great to see you in the community, and all the great work that's happening on the Avenue and all the state of Minnesota too.
Right. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's my crabby old elder self spewing off here. So giggle of it.
I'm right with you. I'm right behind you, not with you. Hey, thanks again. Hey, up next, our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant from Wisconsin. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Warmer weather, sunny skies, summer is here. At the Walker, this means mini golf is open on the rooftop. Artist-led activations return to the hillside, and the cinema has a series of curated films. It's the perfect time to visit. Gallery admissions are free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org/summer. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Phase 2 of the Track and Signals project for the full Metro Blue Line begins June 29th and requires replacement bus service until August 19th. The Metro Green Line will also need replacement bus service at select stations for several dates of the Blue Line maintenance period. Sign up for rider alerts and learn about replacement bus station locations and dates at metrotransit.org/track-signals. Again, that's metrotransit.org/track-signals.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clear with a low of 52. Then Friday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a high of 74. 2026-27 Broadway series packages are available now through Hennepin Arts. It's the perfect way to enjoy the best of Broadway all year long in Minnesota. Learn more and get your package today at hennepinarts.org.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant directly out of Wisconsin, but we talk not only Wisconsin news, but the whole country news and all over Turtle Island. So we're always really, really pleased to have Arvina on. And Arvina, a lot going on, but I know there's a couple things that we'd like to talk about, and really excited to hear your reports on a couple things that you attended. Welcome again, as always, to Native Roots Radio.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm always grateful to be here.
Yeah, so there's an organization that you were involved with, and that is a national organization, and it sounds like that you were at one of their fundraisers or one of the political things.
Yeah, the Democratic Party of Wisconsin had its state convention last weekend here in Madison. It was a really big event. We had it at the Monona Terrace, which is huge. It's right on Lake Monona, Frank Lloyd Wright building. Also, that's where my prom was. Fun note, the first year it opened. We had our convention. There were so many amazing candidates. There were so many amazing activists and community leaders and people that just want to be more involved in the process. And it really gives, convention really gives the people a chance to interact with candidates at all levels. There's also different ways that folks can get involved, working with their county party units or their congressional district party. But the way that I work the most with WisDems is through the caucuses. And there are caucuses for all kinds of groups, and I am the chair of the American Indian Caucus. And we had our meeting that we always do during convention, and we didn't get a lot of business done at the meeting, but because we had so many candidates that wanted to talk to our members. Wow. We had as far as gubernatorial candidates, I wrote this down. We had Lieutenant Rodriguez, we had Senator Kelda Roys, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, former Secretary of Aliv Administration Joel Brennan, and former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Yeah. We also had Sarah Godlewski. She's running for I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. Attorney General Josh Kaul. We had several congressional candidates come and speak to us, as well as a couple state legislative candidates that came and spoke. And I've been doing this. I've been at these meetings now for, oh my gosh, we're talking like 14 years now, I guess. Oh my goodness. And when I first started coming, folks or leaders would come in and they didn't really, they were open to learning, but they didn't seem to know a ton. And they, would just come express their respect for tribal sovereignty and, would give promises about working with tribes and not against them. Well, that so much has changed over that time. And I think it really speaks to the involvement and the continued and growing involvement of Native people in politics, in campaigns for public office, in the fact that we have Native candidates running from, not as much as I'd like, but we're getting more Native candidates that are running. Tribes are becoming increasingly politically savvy and are always in active talks with, whichever unit of government, all of them actually. But so this time it was really interesting to me, and I was so kind of excited and surprised by it that I forgot to take notes on what everybody talked about. But every single person that spoke had some kind of connection or something that they had done previously to either protect tribal sovereignty, to support tribes on policy initiatives, to fight against policies that would harm Native people and tribes across the state. And I think that was a first for me to have, first of all, to have the majority of our time, comprised of having folks speak to us, but having each one of them kind of share a little bit of what they had done. I mean, even folks that were not incumbents. Amanda Bell in the 6th Congressional District talked about how she had worked on environmental issues and water protection and worked with tribes, as a water scientist. And I was really impressed with the fact that folks had specific things that they could point to in their history, their professional history, or sometimes even personal history, and that they used that to inform their future work with tribes and the things that they wanted to do. And it became very clear to me that, especially for governor, that all of the candidates that the Democrats have to choose from for governor will be, leaps and bounds better than the Republican candidate, Tom Tiffany, who has actively, fought against tribes and has been in government for decades. And, he's the one who, during his time on the Judiciary Committee, when they had Pam Bondi testify about the Epstein files, Tom Tiffany didn't use that time to ask about the Epstein files, at least not at first. The first thing he did was ask the Justice Department to look into Lac du Flambeau for closing their roads due to the lack of payment from non-tribal members, including the town of Lac du Flambeau, and actually asked her to punish Lac du Flambeau. And that's wild. That's what he used his time to do. And tribes in Wisconsin, and Native people in Wisconsin really need to get out there and vote for whoever wins the Democratic primary, because all of them, have knowledge about what tribal sovereignty is, and their responsibility as the governor of the state of Wisconsin to work with those tribes. And Democratic candidates are all much more in the ally space than Tom Tiffany is. And I think tribes in Wisconsin would be in a really bad place should he get elected.
Yeah, good update. Let me ask you, so Minnesota is different, and it's almost like the federal president and vice president, governor and lieutenant governor. In Wisconsin, it's separate, huh? A separate election, because they're on a dual ticket here in Minnesota.
So the all of our constitutional officers run as independent, or not as independent, but like their own elections. And that's what we do during the primary for governor and lieutenant governor. So in Wisconsin, voters will be able to choose, should they vote in the Democratic primary, to choose one Democratic candidate for governor and one candidate for lieutenant governor. Once they go to the general election, they run as a ticket, like you do in Minnesota, and like you do as or like they do at the presidential level.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like the gubernatorial candidate chooses a running mate. Their running mate ends up being selected by the voters.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There's just so much going on too. Did you see somewhere, and again, I have a good memory, but it's short, some ho-chunk in Black River Falls won an election, and I wasn't sure if that was school board or city council. Did you happen to see that?
I didn't see about a Ho-Chunk tribal member, but I did see about the wife of a tribal member and mother of tribal members.
Okay.
Nicole Pettibone, who ran for Jackson County supervisor against a very, very, very MAGA guy. And, she ran, and after the election closed, they declared that she won by 2 votes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the applause button? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for that update. I knew it
What?
came across my feed.
That's not the end of the story, though. So the MAGA guy, who was the incumbent, was obviously very upset and called for a recall. And I was trying to help her, find an attorney, because she found out last minute, an attorney to make sure they were doing things legally and not trying to mess around. And ultimately, the recount happens, and the end result was that she won by 1 vote. So that is 100% a message to everybody that votes that your vote does make a difference. And when it comes down to it, you don't want to be the one who didn't go to the polls thinking, it doesn't matter, and find out that your guy lost by 1 vote, So I think that's an important story, and it leads to the call to action that we all need to be involved, because both in Wisconsin and Minnesota, Native populations have the ability and the potential to swing elections.
Mm-hmm.
Our votes, our turnout have been more than margins of victory in Wisconsin, which have historically at the state level been very, very close. So, this shows the power of our votes. And
Absolutely. And, here 2 cycles ago, the Native vote, they were registered brand new voters, 9,000 Native brand new voters up north in Minnesota. And that really put Walz and Flanagan ahead of everybody. And, I'm sure not everyone voted for him, but we got to just keep talking about this election, because that 1 vote, your vote, is so important. And what a great story.
Yeah. And when we show up to vote, that shows candidates for every level of office, that they need to pay attention to us, and not just to our tribal governments for like the government to government relationship, but to us as voters, because we go out and we vote. And when we do, we change elections.
Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, our political consultant here. This is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
Phase 2 of the Track and Signals project for the full Metro Blue Line begins June 29th and requires replacement bus service until August 19th. The Metro Green Line will also need replacement bus service at select stations for several dates of the Blue Line maintenance period. Sign up for rider alerts and learn about replacement bus station locations and dates at metrotransit.org/track-signals. Again, that's metrotransit.org/track-signals.
Hi, I'm Tiergan. And I'm Hadley. We're two of the very first listeners, and we're still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Yay. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and really great intro. I run into those two all the time in community, so a great shout out. Love to play their bumper. Yay. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, and there's more to talk about. Things happening, and you know, I really like the theme of our talk here. It's been very positive, and sometimes we go dark because there's so many bad things going on. But you're going to report on something that's really well. It's happening right now. This is taped earlier in the day, but I'm really excited to hear about your take about Obama and what's happening today.
Yeah, I have been watching the opening ceremonies, the opening, the opening ceremonies for the Obama Presidential Center, and it is such a stark difference, and it almost was a shock to my system how different this is compared to what we see at the presidential level these days. And you know, this was or is, because it's still ongoing right now. I'm currently watching, and they just finished assuming is the last performance that started with Stevie Wonder, and then out came John Legend, Jennifer Hudson, Bruce Springsteen, Eddie Vedder, Common, just all kinds of performers. And, you know, they had Christina Aguilera and Mark Anthony. And this, you know, reminds us and takes me back to the era of hope. Yes. And you know, one of the things that Obama said was that, you know, we don't just like hope blindly, like we have to keep hoping and then like put effort into it. Mm-hmm. And you know, that to me is a really great reminder of the work that I do, like in the political sphere, particularly to get Native people involved in the process, voting, you know, getting involved in campaigns and such, that there is hope and we can make a difference. Mm-hmm. And, you know, his center was built on the south side of Chicago. And when he spoke, he mentioned that, you know, within walking distance of this space that he deliberately chose was where he first worked as a community organizer. Wow. Where he and Michelle, you know, where he met Michelle and where they went out on like first dates and such. Hmm. And, you know, the hospital where his daughters were born. Wow. You know, and this is, you know, the south side of Chicago. I think people generally, you know, think of it as more of a rough area. You know, economic impacts on the area are extremely hard. And that's where he built his center. That's where he built this giant, and he also said it's not a library, but he wants this to be a center for democracy. Nice. Yeah. And so he, you know, is kind of continuing the work that he's done by expanding the scope and saying, and he even said again during his speech, you know, don't go in there and watch the clips of my speeches. You know, you guys have seen those a million times, and really wanted it to be a place of reflection on American democracy and how and an inspiration to continue to fight for it. And if that is not what we need right now, is that reminder, I don't know when we need it. And it's funny, my petty side is also thinking about all of the amazing musicians and performers that I just named who showed up for this, and how Trump had to cancel his 250th concert party with, the biggest name being Kid Rock, because everybody dropped out because they didn't realize, it was presented to them as something else, something nonpartisan. But when they found out that Trump was involved, they're like, So he gets Kid Rock.
And Milli Vanilli, did you hear that?
Yeah, well, one half of Milli Vanilli, and he isn't even the one who sang.
None of them
did. Of them sang, but
neither of them did.
Neither
That's
of
the
them
whole
did.
Joke.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm, as a side note, I loved Milli Vanilli when they came out, and I was devastated when I found out that they did not sing. Though I still listen to "Blame It on the Rain" because it's a good song regardless. So, but I really. It's a reminder. And the other thing is, the last speaker, the person who introduced President Obama, was a Native Hawaiian woman.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't have her name offhand, but she talked about her indigeneity. And her connection to the land, and her work with Native Hawaiian plants, and how the work that President Obama has done either directly or indirectly supports that. And I was so pleased to see somebody who is Kanaka Maoli to present him. She was the one that introduced him, and that it's such a beautiful acknowledgement of his birthplace and where he spent his youth, but also to Native people here. We could debate whether Hawaii should be a state in the first place, but the Hawaiian people, the Native Hawaiian people, have gone through the same struggles, with many with different outcomes. But those are our indigenous family as well.
Absolutely.
And I was so proud to see that they had a place in this ceremony in Chicago. And this is the kind of thing that fills my cup and makes me feel like we can do it. And I guess the last thing that I specifically want to point out is that I worked on his reelection campaign in 2012, and I did GOTV, aka Get Out the Vote, in Menominee County. And we were heading home. I was driving home. We knew we won and everything. I was driving back to Madison, and all of the staff was asked to be on a phone call that afternoon.
Cool.
Across the country. And so I put my phone on speakerphone and was listening. And it was kind of one of those like, yay, we did it, blah, 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 blah. But then the president came out and was speaking directly to us. And I actually, have that it's on YouTube, and I saved it for like times when I need to be back up a little bit, because he talked about what we do as organizers, what we do as community members, getting involved in doing what we think that will help our country be better, and will help us get better results for our communities and put as many of us in better places as possible. And it was so moving that I had to pull over on Highway 151 because I was started to tear up and I couldn't drive. I had to sit there and listen, and I was there I had to sit there for like 45 minutes because I listened to him until he was done. And then I had to like recompose myself, because it was just so inspiring, and it made me so proud to be a part of that team that helped reelect him to office. And, I think, we are lucky in Wisconsin and Minnesota that this is very close by,
Yes.
For me, maybe 3 hours all the way down. But, I'm going to be making my plans to go down there as soon as possible. I can't wait to see everything. And it was amazing too to see his family there. I feel like this is the first time we've seen Sasha and Malia since, which is good. I'm glad that they've been in the public eye, but it was remarkable to see and remember those two young girls on stage when their dad came out after he was elected. Yeah.
Perfect. Hey, we got 10 seconds. How can people get a hold of you?
LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn, Arvina Martin. I'm the only one.
Right on. Hey, thank you so much, Arvina. Great as always speaking with you. I really, really appreciate you. Hey, everybody have a great day. If you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on. It's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We'll see you tomorrow.
Phase 2 of the track and